If you don't have data at your fingertips in your DeFi portfolio, I don't know what you're doing, but you're doing it wrong. And the reason why is because this industry moves so fast. I think we can all agree that this industry just moves super fast and that it's hard to keep up with. So if you're having to spend time manually updating spreadsheets, manually updating different tracking systems, ultimately you're going to get overwhelmed. You're going to spend more time tracking than you should be spending, and you're going to miss out on opportunities, which is going to result in, number one, you not making as much money, but number two, potentially you even losing money because you didn't have the data at your fingertips. And number three, if you don't have accurate data, of course, that results in losing money as well. So in this video, I want to dive a little bit deeper into tracking. As you guys probably know, I use this software called Metrix Finance. This is something that I've personally invested over $100,000 of my own capital building. There's a free 5-day trial if you guys want to try it out. Other than that, it's $40 per month, but I guarantee that the return on investment is there because obviously I use this tool to make tens of thousands of dollars every couple months. But Metrix Finance now supports ORCA for tracking. It does not support Radium quite yet, but it does support ORCA. It also supports Aerodrome and Velodrome, as well as Uniswap, QuickSwap, PancakeSwap, SushiSwap, stuff like that. Today, we're going to be focusing on ORCA. All you have to do is paste in your wallet address that your positions are on. So I paste in this wallet address right over here. I have my Pith Sol position, and I have my Sol to USDC position. We're going to dive into each of these, and then we're also going to dive into my closed positions, all positions, stuff like that. Currently, though, you can see that I have $14,467 of liquidity. I have $506 in unclaimed earnings. I have a $351 loss, but a $356 profit compared to if I held my money in Sol USDC, Pith Sol as well. Of my profit loss, you can see that I'm actually down $858 just from the prices depreciating. And of course, my overall profit loss of $351 is only down 2.2%. That being said, I'm generating a 674% APR, which comes out to $267 per day or $8,000 per month. So again, this goes back to my point, data at your fingertips. Having this data at your fingertips is absolutely crucial. And if you don't have this data at your fingertips, you're fucked. I mean, I hate to be real, but I have to be real. You're fucked, right? And the reason why is because this pool I entered into 2 days ago or so, and I'm already super close to having to rebalance it, right? This has a broad range. This is sold to USDC. That's how fast the market moves. It just moves so fast to the point where if you have to go in and manually update spreadsheets, you are missing out on opportunities because you're spending so much time updating spreadsheets or updating some tracking software, right? You don't want to have to do that. You want to be able to just easily pull in the data and be like, okay, here's my exact performance. And we're going to start by diving into my sold to USDC pool, talking about some of the stuff that you guys can see here, why it's important, what metrics you should be looking for when you look at this, stuff like that, right? Again, we could see those same metrics at the top. We can choose to factor in transaction fees if we want to. This is actually a huge thing if you're on the Ethereum network. I personally spend probably a couple $100 per month or so on the Ethereum network in transaction fees. I make about $5,000 per month on the Ethereum network, and my positions are typically there for 3 weeks or so. So I'm fine spending about $200 per month on average on gas fees. But I personally dove into somebody's portfolio, and they thought they were at a great profit of like, say, $15,000, I think it was. Turns out they spend $8,000 in gas fees over the course of just 90 days on the Ethereum network. Why? Because they're rebalancing too often, which means they could have spent 90% less time, had broader range positions, but ultimately made a better profit because they weren't spending as much money on gas fees. That's the type of stuff that we dive into at Builder Wealth. Next thing that you're going to see is our position composition. This is going to tell you a couple different data pieces. Number one, your current assets in the pool, like what you would see if you went over to ORCA directly, but also their ratio. So I have 27.76 SOL in the pool, which is worth 68.42 right now. That's 86% of the total 79.47 right now. We could also see the same metric for USDC. We could see if we held our initial assets. So initially we put 16.09 in the pool. If we held it to today's price, that'd be worth 39.66 or 49% of the overall assets. And then our initial assets is actually what we started with. So obviously 16.09 SOL, which is worth 39.28 at the time of us depositing, and that was at a 49.51% ratio. We can see the same metrics and breakdown for our earnings in SOL, USDC, our ratios, our total earnings. What I personally think is most important and what you guys are probably going to find the most value out of here is this divergence loss table. This is absolutely crucial. This tells you how you're performing against all metrics, including holding your initial assets, holding a 50-50 ratio, holding 100% of asset one, and holding 100% of asset two. So let's break this down, right? I currently have $79.47 in the liquidity pool, and then I have $406 in overall income. This $406 in income is not factored in right over here. But with that being said, if I held my initial deposit of, $8,050 in just 100% SOL, HODL, on spot, not putting in a liquidity pool, I would have 81.27, which the difference between this 81.27 and what I actually have is negative 179. So if we held in 100% SOL, we would end up with $179 more. If you guys are tracking, let's keep on going. But if we add our income to this, right, which is $406, we get $227, which tells us that we are profiting. We are profiting $227 compared to if we were to just stick the money in SOL, which is a good thing. That means that we are outperforming this benchmark right here. We're also outperforming the benchmark over here compared to if we just stick the money in USDC, outperforming the benchmark compared to if we were to hold in a 50-50 ratio of SOL as well as USDC, outperforming if we were to hold our initial assets in a 49-51% ratio right over here of $265. So we're outperforming all benchmarks here, and that's not always going to be the case. But sometimes when you have super high income, like I'm generating 983% APR, that is going to be the case. And guys, this APR right here, this is the actualized APR for how long I've been in the position. So I've been in this position for a little under 2 days. So if I were to divide this by the exact days and hours that I've been in this position, it would come out to the same 24-hour projection, because this APR is determined based on how much income we've earned so far, not potential income that we're going to earn in the future, which is also very important. You want to know how your position performs on an actual basis. A lot of these exchanges spit out these super high APRs, and ultimately you're not holding up to that standard. This is your actual APR, so 983%. We can view all these divergence loss metrics over here on this chart, and this is going to be these HODL metrics. So if we held our assets in a 50-50 ratio, basically, today we'd have $8,034. Over here we'd have $83.63. We can compare that to our position liquidity. What I like to do if I'm, say, doing USDC SOL or something along those lines, I like to benchmark to just holding SOL and see kind of how it performs there. In this instance, it's actually pretty close. We could see our range. In this instance, you could see that I've actually gone at a range just a couple times. So I probably want to consider rebalancing right here because we're relatively close to my initial entry price. But yeah, ultimately by rebalancing now, I'm going to minimize the future divergence loss that I have. And we can already see that the price can go down to that area. And perhaps it's worth it just bringing this down to like 230, because it's at 235 right now to 320. Bring this down to 230 would even help. From here, if we wanted to, we can simulate this pool on Metrix Finance directly, see potential income. So what I would do in this instance, if I'm trying to see, okay, what type of return can I get? Like, okay, well, right now, if we look at the past 4 days, we're doing about 823%. If we bring that down to 230, we're doing about 750%. It's still pretty damn good, right? So I might even consider bringing this down to 225%, and perhaps we want to limit some upside exposure and put that at 310. And yeah, that's ultimately a little bit better of a range. We're not going to have, 86% SOL in there anymore. We're not going to be close to having to rebalance or anything. And ultimately just going to be a little bit more helpful when it comes to overall management. Another cool thing is we see our projections as well as our position history. So over here, I have a projection of $214 per day over the course of a day. Over the course of 7 days, I'm expecting to make about $1,500. 30 days, about $6,400. And guys, keep in mind that's determined based on the actual APR that you are getting so far. And over here we have PIS SOL. We're going to see the exact same metrics. In this instance, you'll actually notice I'm down overall $562. I am profiting compared to if I held my assets in the market, which is great. I'm also profiting against all of these benchmarks right here compared to if I were to hold all my money in SOL, if I were to hold all my money in PIF, if I were to hold in a 50-50 ratio, or even if I were to just hold my initial assets. Once again, those are benchmarked right here on this chart, so we can kind of see the performance over time. This data right here is absolutely crucial for my decision making, and I guarantee that if you have this data at your fingertips, you're going to be able to do better with your liquidity pools, and you're going to be able to not be diving into the deep end with a blindfold on, right, and having uncertainty in your positions. And that's the number one thing that I noticed after working with over 100 plus people, probably about 12 months ago or so when we launched Metrix Finance, is, well, hey, a lot of these people are just unorganized when it comes to their portfolio. Why don't we make a tool so that way they could get organized? And unfortunately, yes, we do have to charge for it. It's like $40 per month. It's not that much money. That's because we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars building this tool. So again, I think it would be beneficial to you. There's a free 5-day trial. If you don't like it, just cancel that trial. But I do think that it'll help your LP analysis. You can just enter in your wallet addresses, quickly see everything from a glance without having to go and fill in any spreadsheets. Or if you're not even filling in the spreadsheets, you're just simply like looking at your position and guessing. That's even worse worse than the spreadsheets, keep in mind. So definitely try to get some type of tracking implemented within your portfolio. If you don't like it, you don't like it. It's completely fine. Guys, I'll leave the link right below this video if you guys do want to check it out. Again, no pressure whatsoever. Really just trying to build tools for the people that want to use them and build tools that I find useful in my own portfolio and I think other people can find useful in their portfolios. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, drop a like, subscribe, notifications turned on, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.